Hello, this is John with Theology Ed. In this video, I'm going to do a quick update on the August 22nd date. You remember we talked about the August 22nd date in a couple of videos earlier, well, in the last month or so, at the end of July, I believe. And it was in relation to the NFAC, Not Effing Around Coalition, the black militia that showed up in Georgia on July 4th, then went to Louisville later in the month after recruiting more people. And we've talked about that. When they were in Louisville, they said that in 28 days or in 4 weeks, they're going to go back to Louisville if their demands aren't met. And that was August 22nd. So that date we came to not through, investigating predictive programming or anything, subtle and sneaky or decoding anything. We added 4 weeks to the date they were in Louisville. And we showed up and we arrived at August 22nd. But it looks like, thanks to a commenter, Melody, that this is being put off a little bit to September 5th. If their demands aren't met by September 5th, they plan to go back to the Kentucky Derby. Now, you remember we talked about the Kingsman video, and the Kingsman film, excuse me, and the beginning of the attacks, the first attack that preceded the widespread chaos that Valentine was going to bring about using his neurological wave weapon that would basically make people violent, happened at a church in Kentucky, which marked the beginning of the America is doomed message, sort of the beginning of the fall of America, or the violence in America. Something like that, I think, is probably communicated there, possibly at least. And this, of course, the NFAC in Louisville is, at least there's a danger that we'll see violence erupt in Kentucky. It's already, in many ways, already taking off in other cities. We've seen some violence in Chicago, more in Portland, probably than anywhere else so far. But in that movie, it went from the church into the church, and you have this extreme violence in the church where everybody is slaughtered except for the Kingsman agent, who then goes out and gets shot himself by Valentine. Now, in the news, the NFAC militia says they're returning to Louisville on Kentucky Derby Day. So Grandmaster Jay says that. So they're going to go back to Louisville on the day of the Kentucky Derby. The NFAC is returning to Louisville on the day of the Kentucky Derby. Grandmaster Jay Johnson said in a video shared on YouTube, he shared to YouTube on Saturday. So that's recent, this last week, I guess. The NFAC, a black militia, came to Louisville in late July and marched through the city in a demonstration geared at demanding justice for Breonna Taylor, a 26-year-old black woman who was fatally shot by police in March. Certainly a case that deserves attention. During that visit, 3 members were injured in gunfire, which Johnson said occurred after a member passed out from the heat and dropped the gun. Okay, so remember this shooting that happened as either an accidental shooting or a negligent shooting. There's different options here. He said they've made some adjustments. They're still expecting the Kentucky Attorney General, Daniel Cameron, to speak up, tell the truth, settle the matter. The Derby, set for September 5th, is a strategic date for the visit, Johnson said in a video shared by Black Nation Building. If you want to send a message, sometimes you don't burn down the city, you burn down their wallets. He said that he's hopeful there is a decision in the case before September 5th. If not, then we too will be attending the Kentucky Derby in Louisville. Now, this is not something that's totally out of the blue. Apparently, now the Kentucky Derby is at Churchill Downs, which, again, Kentucky church, maybe they have this in mind. Protesters to Churchill Downs. If you care about racial justice, cancel the Kentucky Derby. This is something that earlier this month, on August 12th, over a week ago, that was in the news already. So they've been talking about canceling the Kentucky Derby, the protesters wanting them to cancel the Kentucky Derby. And now, so members of Louisville's black community are calling on Churchill Downs to cancel the 2020 Kentucky Derby, even as the company pushes forward with plans to run the race in September with fans. It usually isn't in September, if I understand correctly. So this is something unusual. We have a September 5th Kentucky Derby. It's always in Churchill Downs. This is the race where they wear the fancy hats. You can look those up. When I look those up, you can buy those hats at like church hat places because they're similar to how some women have used hats in more traditional churches where head coverings are required or hats are expected. And let's see. So that's all I have to say. I mean, you can take a look. These stories are on on the Courier Journal site, but it looks like the August 22nd date is being pushed back to September 5th, to a date that actually has a bigger event to interfere with. And they're not going to show up with fanny packs. They're still going to come with guns. I'm pretty sure they're a militia, and given their practices so far, that's their general way of approaching things. So there's always a chance that something could erupt, some violence could erupt. It could provoke other people, other militias, like in the last case, last time, where other militias come to protect the police or to oppose the NFAC. And so whenever you've got armed groups, especially non-professional armed groups standing around, opposing one another and all of that, you do run the risk of something happening. So it'll be interesting to see. And I just wanted to make sure we have that update so everybody knows that August 22nd has been delayed, apparently, I think, to September 5th, an NFAC in Louisville or in Kentucky. So that's that. Like, subscribe, share.